Hello everybody and welcome to Benjamin Magnus Plays Aurora 4X. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself, Benjamin, that looks a lot like your desktop background, and that's because it is. Aurora 4X is right down over here. Now, if you guys don't know what Aurora 4X is, it is a space-based 4X game of galactic scale and Dwarf Fortress-esc complexability and I don't know, like baffling indifference to the player in terms of the UI. It is extremely difficult to figure a lot of things out. I have a little bit of time invested into the game, and I'm hoping that we can get a nice galactic empire started up. So we are going to start a new game. I have a couple test games I had started up earlier on here, but we are going to start a brand new one, and this is going to be what should we call it? We'll just call it Benjamin Magnus. We are going to start, I've decided we're going to start in the year 1947, and that is because I've been playing Hearts of Iron 3 on my channel as the Soviet Union, and the way I see it, I mean, the date doesn't really honestly matter. It's just kind of the story you portray in your head, really. The way I see it is the Soviet Union defeated Germany, overran Europe, and then got into a nuclear war with the Western Allies. And in 1947, they came out on top after the population of the planet had been decimated. So we are going to be the USSR. I think we're going to, the empire title is going to be the USSR. Empire name for short. No, USSR. We'll go with USSR, and what should we call the empire for long? No, we'll go with this. We'll go with the Magni Coalition. Magni. I thought Magni. Is Magni good? We'll go with Magni, and we're gonna go with the Magi for short. We'll still be human, and we'll still be from Earth. And government type, that changes a lot of the game. But right here, which is important, is Trans-Newtonian Empire or Conventional. If you go with Trans-Newtonian, you start out with a bunch of stuff that I don't want to start with. So we're going to go with Conventional, which is basically right at the start of the game when all these new Trans-Newtonian elements that fuel the game are loaded in. Or, discovered as, the plot of the game goes. Empire theme, this basically just goes with naming convention. Again, this is all cosmetic stuff. This is not cosmetic, but this is cosmetic right in here. Warhammer 40k I kind of love, so we're actually going to go with that. I'm a big 40k fan, so we're going to go with that. And commander theme, we're going to go with English. Is English good? This is going to be for naming conventions. We're going to go with Roman. Roman and Warhammer 40k, that goes together very good. Species tolerance, we're going to leave at human standard kind of things. Most of this we're going to leave. Just a couple things we're going to change here. Let's see. There was one other thing. Number of computer-controlled empires. We're going to go with 0 because I'm slow at this game. It's going to be a slow start. And if you have computer-controlled empires, I'll explain it later, but basically the more empires that start, the quicker the game's going to get going and lag out on you, basically. So I don't really want to change anything else. There's a lot of features to work with, but we're gonna just change basically some of the cosmetic stuff and create our game. It creates pretty quickly, honestly. Usually only takes about a minute. All right, and we're all set. It actually only took about 30 seconds, so we are going to hop right into my Benjamin Magnus game. We're not going to do our test game or our stream game or another test game. We're going to use Benjamin Magnus here. And funnily enough, this is the main window for Aurora 4X. So as long as this window stays open, you are still playing the game. But what we're going to do is we're going to work mostly. There's a lot of tabs here, a lot of things to show you, but we're gonna go start with the system map. This is where you play most of the game. Now, I know a couple people on my channel have played this game, and some people have a little bit more knowledge of it than I do, but I'm gonna go off the assumption that most people watching this on my channel have not played the game before and have absolutely no idea what's going on. So I'm gonna try to go pretty slow with this and explain a lot of what I'm doing. And like I said, well, if we go to Earth here, you can see that we have a population And this is where most of your information is displayed. We have a population of 500 million people, which means the population of the Earth has been decimated, basically. Which is why I like that storyline in my head where the Soviet Union got into a nuclear war with the Western Allies, came out ahead, and the remaining, we're going to go with mainly Slavic population of the planet, the 500 million of them that survived, is what we're going to go forwards with. Now, there's not a lot of backstory to the game. The only backstory basically is that all of these new elements have just been discovered, and they're called trans-Newtonian elements. They're called trans-Newtonian because they do not, how do I want to say this, adhere to standard Newtonian physical laws. So any ships or anything built with these components, these minerals, are going to have properties that are outside of the normal realm of physics. I think the way the game maker, I can't remember what his name was, this is all done by one guy, said was that there was a universe that was discovered that was, directly adjacent to our universe, and that these elements were found to be able to brought over from that one to ours. So we recently discovered these look like sizable quantities. These are in tons. So this is 189,600 tons of duranium, which is like future steel, basically. Everything's made out of duranium. It seems like there's a lot, but we're going to eventually find planets and orbital bodies, moons, asteroids, things like that, that have millions, tens of millions. I haven't seen hundreds of millions, but I've seen tens of millions of tons of all these different. And as you can see here, there's duranium, neutronium, corbamite, tritanium, or tritium, boronide, mercasium, vendorite, sorium. This one's important and I'm glad I actually have a lot of it, because this is what fuel is made out of. This is what all of the space fuel is made out of. Iridium, corundium. There's always a shortage of corundium in the game for some reason, and galacite. There's a couple of these that are more important than others, like duranium and corundium and sorium, but you do need all of them. And we are actually mining all of them at a very low rate right now. This is our annual production of all of these materials. Or minerals? We'll go with minerals. Trans-Newtonian elements. We'll go with elements. Trans-Newtonian elements. So on Earth right now, we have 1,000 conventional industry. Conventional industry is just like the factories. So factories, they're going to produce things that are also going to serve as, they're going to dual purposes mines, basically. So 1,000 factories equals 1,000 annual production. So 1 ton per factory per element per year. And then that's modified by its accessibility right here. Accessibility is just how hard it is to get to. So our duranium, our boronide, our mercasium. Mercasium is another important one because that goes into research and kind of advanced components and things like that, are all basically sitting at the surface and easy to get. And then things like uridium are further down and they're more difficult to get because they have a lower accessibility. So things that are near the surface and easy to get, we are working at full production of 1,000, and then you could easily see the ratio. Just take your production, multiply it by the accessibility, and that's your annual production right there. And actually, if we're not gonna progress any time right now because I don't want to waste any time. That's something that brings us to the next thing, is that time increments are chosen by the player from anywhere from 5 seconds if you're involved in some very hectic combat to 30 days if you're sitting there and doing nothing. All right, where were we? Just explaining a lot of stuff, honestly. And again, I'm not an expert at this game. I'm not an expert. I'm not making this to be a tutorial. I'm making this because I'm finding it, and I find it entertaining. And where is our... Here we go. I mean, it might come off that way just because I'm explaining a lot, because I know a lot of people who have not played this game before, but that's just going to be the nature of the game. And this is our shipyard. We have one shipyard on Earth. We have the Agendus and Pius. Agendus and Pius naval shipyard. It would be there's either an N or a C here. It's naval or commercial. Naval shipyards are smaller, but can build naval ships. Commercial shipyards are larger and can build only commercial ships. Naval shipyards can build commercial ships as well, but only at their slipway capacity right here. We're going to use this later. We are going to use this. Right now, what's important is our industry, because what we need to do, industry and research. What we need to do is convert these factories over to use Newtonian elements to make more advanced factories. But unfortunately, we don't have access to that yet because we need to work on some research. So the first thing we're going to do is pop over to our research tab and take a look at the research area. Now, I'm loving these Roman names, by the way. I love the Roman theming. I think it's going to go really well with the Warhammer 40K theming as well. So we have 3 scientists right now. They each have a specialization in a certain field and a bonus. And the way it works is when you go, they each produce a certain amount of research points per turn, per day. It's not per turn. It's going to be per day because, you know, the turns have variable length. And if they get the bonus for working, you know, in any field, but if you're working in your field, you multiply your bonus by 4. So you would get 10% more research for using these 2 guys because of their bonus, and you would get 40% more if they were working on defensive systems or logistics and ground combat. Unfortunately, we don't need either of those right now. What we need is construction and production, and we need to work on trans-Newtonian technology right here. So I'm actually going to grab the logistics guy, because right now the logistics is going to be more important than defensive systems, and we're going to give him all of our factories. We're going to allocate all of our labs to him. And here you go. See, our annual production of research points would have been 1,000, so it'd be 200 points per lab per year, but then it's modified by his 10% right here. 10%, so he's getting 1,100. So this is going to finish on July 17th of 1951. So we got years before we can do anything with our trans-Newtonian elements, basically. Because, I mean, we could build financial centers, which I don't really need, infrastructure, which I don't need, maintenance and military facilities. I can build that stuff right now, but I don't need to. So what we're going to do is just let some time pass by and let our stockpile of all these trans-Newtonian elements, you know, build up while we wait for 1951 to come by. And right now it's January 1st, 1947. So why don't we just progress by 1 month? All right, and you can see our stockpiles went up. Our supply of sorium, though, is going down. And actually, we can take care of that right now. Let's see. Our fuel, well, actually, we have a production of fuel right now. Why don't we let a little bit of fuel, because we're converting our fuel into, our sorium into fuel. Oh, you know what I forgot to turn on? I forgot to turn on, you can pull up your event log right here, which is great, but you can also put on events over here. Let's see, display, I believe it's down here, show events right there. So right here, so when new things happen, they're gonna pop up, important things at least, they're gonna pop up right over here. Oh, that actually reminds me, Earth needs a governor. So Benjamin Magnus is clearly the uncontested, I don't know, dictator, benevolent leader of Earth, but Earth still needs a governor because I can't take care of everything myself. So we're going to pick a civilian administrator for Earth who needs to be at least level A2, which is actually pretty low. The higher the number, the better. And what we're interested in mostly right now is mining and production. For bonuses. So shipbuilding, wealth creation, population bonus, ground construction speed. Now, how about Quintus here? Mining bonus, 25%. That's huge. Nothing here. Factory production, 15% minus okay, this guy's good right here because he's got factory production and mining bonus. So he is going to get assigned as the governor of Earth right there. Alrighty, good. I forgot to do that. Not a big deal, though, at this point in the game. And if you guys don't know what we're looking at, because I haven't exactly explained it yet, we're just staring at the solar system. You can actually zoom out pretty far, and there's a lot of stuff. So we have Hale-Bopp over here, and Manon Russell. These are long-term. What do they call them? Not long-term. Long cycle. Long something comets. Eris is a planetoid. That's a planetoid as well. And all the rest of this stuff, and it looks like this crazy jumble, is mostly asteroids. And right now, we're kind of focusing in on the inner planets and the asteroid field. But I think we can turn off the asteroids for now. Let's see. Orbital pass, names, asteroids. Here we go. All right. So that cleans up things a bunch, because most of the objects in the solar system are just asteroids. Everything else is comets are important because comets usually do have Well, at least a lot of them do have trans-Newtonian elements, so the comets are worth mining. Some of the planets, we're going to have to figure that out on our own. So let's let a couple more months go by. You can see the comets coming in, Temple 1 and Faye. Temple 1 circled around the sun and moved back. You can actually see that a little better if you put on auto turns, and let's do maybe a 1-day increment. See, there you go. And the little line is direction of travel. That's how far they moved in that time increment. So nothing's really happening right now because we were really kind of hamstrung without the trans-Newtonian technology. That's the first thing you have to get. You have to work with the new trans-Newtonian elements, or you're going to be completely boned. And let's see. You can see the days flying by pretty quickly here, but it's still only, hasn't even been a year yet. It's still only 1947. So why don't we turn 1-day auto turns off and do some 30 days. Sorium shortages, shortage in fuel production on Earth. Okay, that's fine. Because we're not using any fuel for anything. We don't have any ships. So we can just go to our industry. You can actually tell right here that we have a stockpile of 1,035 tons, and we're projected to use 1,150. So we can just stop refining the fuel. We have 2 million liters, 2.1868 million liters. We don't need it for anything, though. We don't need it. And hang on, no, I don't think I was gonna start building something, but then I realized no, I can't do it without trans-Newtonian. So a new officer has arrived. We actually have the game comes, you come standard when you start a new planet, new game, with a level 1 military academy, and all officers, scientists, everything like that comes from your military academy right there. So we are getting a new military academy, building it up from level 1 to level 2. Is going to be important because your scientists come through there, and there's kind of like a random chance of you getting new scientists. So I'm getting new officers. An officer's been promoted. That's handled internally in the game. You don't need to do it. I mean, you can mess around with it, but right now I'm not really good at it. New administrator, so a new civilian administrator just graduated from the academy. Well, we're most interested in new scientists popping up, though, because having at least one scientist in each field is definitely important. New officer. Through tough training, civilian administrator Tiberius Adius Faustus has increased the factory production bonus to 20. That's not our guy, is it? Who's the governor of Earth? No, that is Faust. That is our guy. Right? Yes, factory production went up 5%. Because our administrator is much better now. Well, 5% better. New officer. Alrighty. So not much is going on right now. Why don't we turn on auto turns and speed ahead until our trans-Newtonian research is complete. I just saw a new scientist pop up. Well, we'll look at that in a second, though. Research complete. There we go. Team on Earth led by Marcus Lollius Frontius. I'm loving the Roman theming. It's great. Has completed research into trans-Newtonian technology. Perfect. And we also we got 2 new scientists, actually. What was it 2? Yeah, no. There was 3 before, so we got 1 new one. I wonder which one it was. I think it's probably another guy into the logistics and ground combat, which is a little bit of a bummer, but at least he has a bonus. He doesn't have a great bonus, but he does have a bonus. So the first thing we're going to do is allocate our labs to these guys right here. And what's going to be important is construction and production, sensors, which unfortunately we don't have anybody in sensors, and power and propulsion. So let's start with power and propulsion, and we're going to go with pressurized water reactor. So this is the base technology used to create power plants, prerequisite tech for nuclear thermal engines. So our first ships are going to need engines, and we have to design and build those, and we need to research pressurized water reactors first. Now, we don't have anybody specialized in power and propulsion, and we're not doing missiles and kinetic weapons right now. So we're just going to give this guy 1 research lab to work on. If they are working on research, they have a chance to increase their bonus. So right now, this is getting no bonus whatsoever, which is unfortunate, which is why I'm only giving him one lab to work with. And what else do we need to work on? Construction and production. What else is important in here? Research rate, mining production is very important. Construction rate is important. I'm thinking that there's something in. I feel like there's something in logistics I want. Oh, you know what's very important is sensors. We need to get. Which one is it? Geological survey sensors. We can build. Our first ship is going to be a survey ship that goes around the solar system and figures out what elements we're working with the inner solar system and the comments, and it'll go around and bounce around and tell us what else is in the solar system. It'll let us know where colonies are going to spring up in the future. So let's see. We don't have anybody with a survey bonus, so we're going to let's give 2 labs to this guy. We've got 2 more to work with. Why don't we go to construction and production? Or what? Do we got anything in logistics we need? Because he could work in logistics. There are some things that we could use. Cargo handling systems we're going to need later. Cargo handling systems reduce the amount of times it takes to load and unload cargo ships. So we'll need that later. So let's give him 1. And let's just go to construction production and start working on mining. Getting our mining up. All right, so we got all those going. Now, these might take a while. They're probably not going to take as long as it says here, but we'll work with that as we go into the future. Now, what we need to do is work on our industry. So we have all of these new options because we have a trans-Newtonian empire to work with now. So we have 1,000 conventional industry that we're going to need to start working on converting over to different types. So we can convert it to construction factories, fighter factories, don't really need that. Fuel refinery, might need that. Mines, definitely going to need that. And ordnance factories, not going to need that at the moment. So why don't we start with mines? Why don't we convert, why don't we go with 300 of our conventional factories. Let's convert them into mines. And let's use 50% of our production, our total production to do that. All right. So we have 50% of our total construction capacity unused. And we're going to use the other 50% to work on new construction factories. So we're going to take 700 of these and convert them at 50% ratio to new factories. So now, when we take a 5-day tick, you can see we're starting to build these. Now, it says it's going to take to 1961 and 1974, but it's not going to take that long because as every single construction factory is completed, it will take incrementally less time to do the next one. All right, so we're starting to work on these already. We got a couple done. The first few are going to take a long time, but these are our construction points right here. And you can see every month we have more construction points than the next month. Yep, there we go. We're actually getting a pretty good boost from our civilian administrator, too. See, this is a problem here. Well, at least we have a surplus right now, a small stockpile of duranium, but we're going to blow through that. Well, let's leave auto turns on and go for 30 days, 30-day increments. And just watch to see if anything interesting. New scientist. Actually, that was interesting right there. So we got someone with missile and kinetic weapons. We already had someone with missile and kinetic weapons. Or was it, do we get defensive systems? Which one of these was new? Tiberius, Festinius, Capio. This one is new. So we already had one of those. Unfortunate. Health update. Not a big deal. Not much is going on early game. It takes a little time to get everything kind of whipped up. Research complete. So we already finished our research into geological survey sensors. Now that's going to be very important because those sensors are what's going to be, the whole purpose of having our first ship. So we have research available, don't we? And what's the next most important thing is probably going to be the pressurized water reactor right here. Because these ones neither of these are going to have anything to do with our ship, but this one will. So let's add our free lab to this, and that will finish in 1956. All right, not bad. It is 1953. Oh, we have an inactive research lab. Do we mess that up? We must add 2. So let's add both in there. We'll add both in there. All right, good. Nice. Oh, research completed. Cargo handling system. That will be important in the future. I'm glad I have it right now, but we're not going to use it for a little while still. So let's pick and choose mining production. Let's add the lab to the mining production, actually, though. Yeah, that because that's going to be more important than anything else at the moment, I think. Yeah, all right. Let's keep processing for a little bit. If anything interesting pops up, I mean, it goes by per... Ooh, there we go. Research complete. A pressurized water reactor. Excellent. Excellent. Now that means we could actually start working on our first engine, which is very interesting. Oh, and if you look here, you can see our bonuses actually did increase as we were researching. Very nice. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody who specializes in power and propulsion. That's a shame. So we just have to wait, and hopefully someone pops out. All right, so what could we work on in terms of nuclear thermal engine technology? Here we go. Base engine technology for engine component design. Now, can I... I'm wondering, can I construct an engine right now with the technology I have at hand? Let's go to engines. And it needs to be a commercial, not a military engine. It's a weak engine. Well, we could always increase its size. Hang on. Okay. Oh yeah, okay, we can build an engine with the technology we have at hand. Okay, I'm going to look into this for a second. Okay, so we need to design a commercial engine for our first ship here. And I think should we do that right now? I don't know, we're basically at the end of this episode. I think, no, let's leave that for the next episode because we're about half an hour into this one right now. So I think I'll leave that to the next episode. But I think this was a good start. It was a lot of talking. It was a lot of trying to explain what's going on in the game because it's basically just staring at spreadsheets and graphs and things like that. And actually, I don't know, sometimes you can pull them back up when they're already opened and sometimes you can't. I don't know why. Sometimes you got to go down here and pop it back open. But I mean, we're doing good. We've converted 104 of our conventional industries into mines already. So if you go to mining and maintenance, you can see we were working at 1,000 tons of annual production. Now we're looking at over 3,000. So we were looking at about 1,000 tons of annual production. Now we're looking at over 3,000 tons, and we still have about 100 factories to create. But even at the production rates we're going, we still have decades before we start running out of anything. It looks like the first thing we're going to run out of is Newtonium. So that's definitely something we're going to want to look for in other orbital bodies. And if we go to industry, we had about 1,000 construction points when we started, and now we're at over 3,000 construction points. So these are going to finish up pretty quickly. Why don't we just do one more tick? Yeah, nice. Oh, we have inactive labs too. Whoops, I forgot about that. Let's focus in on what we got to do here. So we got our sensors. We got those completed, right? Yeah, we do. Is there anything else in here? We're going to need improved well, we could do improved geological sensors as well. Provides two. It'll survey faster, but it won't survey. Why don't we get somebody working on that? Let's just give them one lab to work with. Let's create that. We have mining, and I think the other things we're gonna go into construction and production. Or we do have a logistics person that's pretty good. Let's go into logistics and give Marcus here some things we'll need for the future. And things we'll need in the future are, you know what, an improved cargo handling system. Even though it's expensive, will be nice. Because that'll further increase loading and unloading speeds. And we really don't have anybody else who has anything that needs to be done right now. So let's go to construction and production again and do construction rate increase by to 12 build points. That would be from 10 to 12, I'm pretty sure. And we're going to give that to the guy with the missile thing, so he can try to level up his bonus. All right, so these people are working on their things. Now, as things become more or less important, we can move these labs around or, cancel project. Doesn't cost anything. But we're going to leave this right here. I hope you have enjoyed it because I am thoroughly enjoying this game. It's something very different, and I hope you stick around with me and learn as we go. So if you have enjoyed this, just drop me a like, leave me those comments right down below, and if you're interested in more Benjamin Magnus plays Aurora 4X, just subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next time.